Good morning. Okay, let's have some time together to discuss how we can pull ourselves out of that darkness that this virus has spread emotionally to many of us. And the way that I know, I'm sure that there are other ways, but the way I know comes from two directions. The one direction is faith in God, and the second direction is the power of the emotional power. They are connected because a lot of times it is through the emotions that we feel God, and through that together, God and our emotions are able to empower us and help us overcome difficulties that we could have, that they are not of physical nature, but they are emotional. So, again, this is coffee time with Ninita, and I'm using this time at this period when we are faced with the coronavirus affecting globally our world. Okay, I mentioned on Facebook that part of Genesis where it is referring to the flood, where Noah took his family after direction he got from God to build an ark and place in that ark his family and two of each kind of animals that was living in the world. I'm sure, and this is my thoughts, Noah extended the invitation to other people, but people by nature don't like restrictions. And I'm making that kind of statement because I feel that this is where we are today. We have some emotional reaction to the restrictions that are placed on us as a result of the virus. We are asked to stay clean, to stay protected, to stay in schools, jobs, restaurants, and pretty much anything that has to do with living life the way we know it, shopping and working and going to school, eating out and having entertainment that requires interaction of people with each other, pretty much is taken off the table. So what we are in so many ways asked to do is to find our own arcs and stay put, stay in until the flood of the virus passes us. Okay. This word restriction can be taken in two ways. The one way is, oh my God, really? I have to change my life so much? That is terrible. And as a result of this thought, feel bad. Or we can take that the same way, but start the same way, but follow a different route, if I may say that. Oh my God, we have to be in our own personal arcs, our families, our homes, away as much as possible from opportunities of spreading the virus. by touching people that we don't know that they are carriers, or we don't know that they are sick. The second approach has some kind of relief. At least there is something that can protect me, so that in the end I can come out of that isolation safe, healthy. Pretty much what I think Noah was thinking after he got the recommendation from God. But unfortunately, we get upset every time we feel people impose on our freedoms. We don't like restrictions. And that might be something that we all need to work on. And this is a perfect opportunity to make friends with restrictions rather than keep treating it as an enemy. Restriction is good. Why? Because that gives us an opportunity to expand in other areas that come from within us. Usually, restrictions are ways of preventing us from being exposed to the outside world for all our needs. Feel good and be entertained, be stimulated. Instead, we have to find inner ways from within ourselves. Imagination, creativity, opportunity to talk to the people that we call family. And nowadays we are just passing ships, going to the different activities. And now we can actually take this opportunity and become friends with these blood relatives that actually we feel that they are strangers to us. It feels that way. We have agreed that we have nothing to talk about with these people that we call family. Our conversation is pretty much to manage matters, to manage living together, whether it is parents and children, whether it is siblings among themselves, whether it is spouses. It is pretty much goal-oriented or task-oriented. It is not content-oriented. Let's talk, let's philosophize, let's share thoughts and feelings. So the restrictions take away the easy ways that we have learned to occupy ourselves with and feeling stimulated. And it encourages us, it gives us the opportunity to explore inner ways, like reading a book and sharing our thoughts. I'm not going to say talking on the cell phone, but I am going to say there are so many podcasts that are stimulating and enriching. So there is much that we can do even though we feel limited. The other thought I had was that often we are very busy, our lives are very busy, and we don't really have we have time, and I mean real time, to get to know God. God, not in the form of fast food service, but God in the form of who is He? What is He? How is He operating? Why are people believing in Him? Why are people not believing in Him? this kind of personal search or search with each other. I know that these are the times that unfortunately they have already made decisions of closing down churches, since it is a place where many people gather. But they don't close down faith. And even though it is unfortunate, that does not stop us from taking the time and exploring who is He? What are the Christians believing in? Are we gods? Or actually God is outside us, Creator, that has actually a final word over the challenges that are going on? How do we reach Him? How do we make Him do for us what He did for Noah? Protect us. Well, for one, Noah was different from the people of his time because he took the time to get to know Him. And that is the part that we don't understand. We want a miracle coming from something or someone who we will not spend time to get to know. And the miracle doesn't happen. It is like finding a stranger in the mall and asking him for $1 million. He's not going to give you $1 million. Who are you? And then we say, yes, you're right, but God should be able to answer our requests. Yeah, if God was a genie. But one of the most important parts is that it is our behaviors and our tendency of being prejudiced against restrictions of any kind that pulls us so far away from the concept God. So, where I'm going with all this is not to feel worse than we already feel. Where I'm going with all this is that I feel that this is a great opportunity because we have plenty of time in our hands. And either we use that time to feel bad, or we use our time to start individually or collectively considering getting to know God who the Christians believe in. Understanding that maybe keeping ourselves so occupied and so busy might be the source of why we have so much anxiety and stress. And quieting down our minds, quieting down our thoughts might create a new way, a new path of getting to know a kind of life that is different than the busy, hectic life that we live in. And who knows, this might be a great opportunity through that darkness that the virus has spread that will guide us into something that we had no time to discover yet. And it happens different for each person. So it is not that kind of step-by-step how each one of us can discover the relationship, can establish, can discover God and develop relationship, I'm not going to tell you, because each one of us, for each one of us is different. However, if you chose to make time seriously and individually pray, what kind of prayer? You can come up with a prayer. Maybe you want to say, God, help me get to know you. Maybe you want to say, God, who are you? Maybe you want to say, I don't know what to do, but I want just to find out, do you exist? Who are you? Help me. But of course, there is a requirement. And that requirement is, God is not going to appear the way that we think He should appear in our lives. And that's why we have to be very open-minded. Because a lot of times, He comes through circumstances that at the time we did not realize what was going on. But afterwards, we are hit with that, oh my God, what did just happen? So, if you considered this as an opportunity of exploring, not mentally, emotionally, the possibility of God actually existing, maybe you're going to find out that there is no room for depression, for anxiety, for worries, for sadness, for darkness. And even the illness will sort of push itself away. Because this God that the Christians believe in is a healing force. And one of the characteristics of this God is you don't see His essence. We cannot see His essence, but we can feel His energy. The Christians call it divine energy. And that is the part that you don't know how to activate that energy. The Christians use the approach of noetic prayer, they call it. And it is a prayer of the heart. And what we mean by that is the emotions are very much part of the words that go to God, that we say. So it is those words that come from emotions of trust, what they cannot understand, love, that actually can give that kind of experience, a touch of it, of His divine energy. The Christians believe that God is three persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And even though there are three individual persons, three persons, there are also one. Of one essence. God the Son, Jesus Christ, actually lived on earth, you know that. And the Holy Spirit is what actually comes and carries the divine energy. So I don't want to make it a theology, and by all means you can go and get more information on that. But I just wanted to invite you, days like that, to try to explore what can we do that will stop us from feeling so desperate and frustrated and overwhelmed and dark. So, the topic of today was our attitude towards restrictions, and how by making peace and finding something good that restrictions can provide, and especially today with what we're going through, maybe this can bring along an experience that will positive for us, that we will never forget and we will never let go. So let's talk again tomorrow. Until then, God bless you, stay safe, sanitized and washing hands, make it a new way of life. Talk to you tomorrow.